Wow, stories.
Am I the idiot for not washing my hands at 3 a.m.? Last night, my significant other, female 28, woke me, male 29, up at around 3 a.m. to tell me that I had thrown our dog off the bed while sleeping. I was a bit annoyed that she woke me up, so I went to the kitchen to grab a glass of water and use the restroom. I tried to stay as sleepy as possible to fall back asleep quickly. When I returned to bed, my SO told me to wash my hands, as she had apparently heard me in the restroom, and noticed that I forgot to wash them in my half-asleep state. I told her that I just wanted to go back to sleep and didn't want to argue since I had sprained my ankle a bit earlier in the evening. However, she continued to ask me to wash my hands repeatedly. After some back and forth, I decided to sleep in the guest room instead of our bed. I am aware that I should wash my hands after using the restroom, but I was annoyed that my SO wouldn't drop the issue, and I couldn't fall back asleep until about 5:30 a.m. The next morning, I woke up in a bad mood, and my SO asked me jokingly why I had slept in the guest room. I told her that I had slept there because she woke me up for the dog and wouldn't drop the hand-washing issue. I expected an apology from her since I thought waking me up for the dog was inappropriate. However, she told me that it was my fault for not washing my hands and that I should have tried harder to fall back asleep. She said I was being dramatic and needed to get over it. I got frustrated because I had asked her to drop the issue several times during the night, but she had ignored me. I got angry and told her that I should have washed my hands, but that waking me up for the dog's comfort was ridiculous, and that she should have dropped it when I asked her to. I then told her not to talk to me until she had something else to say besides, "You are overreacting." She left for work, and I am now typing this in my home office, feeling upset. We are at a standstill where I feel like I need an apology, and she feels like I am being dramatic. I tend to get angry quickly when I am sleep-deprived, so I know that I may be in the wrong here. I need some outside perspective, so Reddit, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Before even getting to the hand-washing part. She woke you up to tell you that you disturbed the dog in your sleep? GTFO. Waking me up to tell me foolishness like that is a deal-breaker. Arguing with you in the middle of the night about anything less than life-threatening, and no, a little pee-pee hand is not life-threatening, is the icing on a poop cake. Everyone sucks here. Being woken up because you nudged the doggo off the bed while asleep is weird. It was not an intentional act, and it doesn't sound as though any harm was done. Refusing to wash your hands was gross. You expected an apology. It's not controlling when y'all share common areas, and your bathroom hands would be on them. Am I the idiot for lying to my wife about the length of my work trip to avoid a vacation with the in-laws? My male 34, wife, female 31, and her family, my in-laws, had a 5-day-long family vacation in July. It was at an Airbnb that everyone, wife, her siblings and their spouses, and her parents, stayed in. I happened to have a work trip the same week as the vacation, but it was only 2 days long, so I technically could have gone to the last few days of the vacation. Here's the thing about my wife's family. They're very rowdy. They yell to communicate, get drunk together often, have no respect for each other's privacy, and ask very invasive questions. For example, on our wedding day, my father-in-law asked me if I had been practicing my moves for the wedding night, and if I needed any advice, I was appalled. I have told my wife before that sometimes her family can be too rowdy for me, but she gets defensive and says I should accept her family for who they are. There have been times when I've asked my wife if I can skip family reunions and birthday parties, but she gets very mad at me and says it would be super rude to avoid her family. So when I found out that my out-of-state work trip was the same week as the family vacation, I decided to fib to my wife a bit. I told my wife that my work trip was 4 days long, and that it wouldn't make sense for me to travel to the Airbnb to stay for only 1 day. My wife agreed to this. So, I went on the work trip and enjoyed a few days of peace and quiet at our house, while my wife enjoyed the vacation with her family. A few weeks go by and I'm having some coworkers over for drinks. My wife came home from work early and started chatting with my coworkers. She told them about the wonderful vacation she had with her family a few weeks ago, and my coworkers asked me why I didn't join. I told them that the vacation was during our work trip. My coworkers said our work trip was only 2 days long. Why didn't I catch the end of the family vacation? The look on my wife's face was murderous. After my coworkers left, my wife started yelling at me, saying I was a major idiot. She called her parents and they sent me angry messages saying they couldn't believe I lied to my wife to avoid a vacation with them. Am I the idiot for lying to my wife about the length of my work trip, even though I know she wouldn't allow me to skip the family vacation? Everyone sucks here. Lying to your wife isn't good, but I can understand if her family makes you uncomfortable and she didn't give a poop. She was an AH for insisting on you going no matter what, and an even bigger AH for calling her parents and letting them know about it instead of handling it with you privately. She's disloyal and doesn't respect you at all. Time to have a very direct discussion and find a compromise you can both live with, and/or seek marriage counseling so you can have a referee. Not the idiot. I was going to go with IT until she told her mommy and daddy about you, and I read what they're like. You shouldn't have to lie to your spouse, but it almost sounds like you actually had to. She and her family sound like a lot to deal with. Her dad sounds disgusting, and I'm sorry for you. Am I the idiot for telling my husband to get over his dead mother? I know that the title sounds horrible, but please listen to my side. I, female 32, have been married for 4 years to Andy, male 37, last June, around 11 months ago. Andy's mother passed away in a car accident. It was totally unexpected. He was super close to her, and it hit him hard. He developed really bad depression. I tried my best to stay strong for him and offer comfort whenever he needed it. But it has been so hard being his emotional crutch. Andy stayed at home all day, quit his job, and barely paid attention to me. I had to pay all the bills. Soon I realized that our relationship was dying. Intimacy was long gone, and Andy rarely talked to me. I begged him to go to a therapist and tried all ways to help him. He refused all of them. It broke my heart to see the man I love fall to pieces. Yesterday, Andy and I had an argument. I came home from a really bad day at work and found him surrounded by rubbish on the couch. I tiredly asked him to please clean it up, but he refused. Something just snapped in me and I yelled, "I think it's time you get over your mom." Andy looked at me like I was crazy and said, "How could you say such a thing? My mother is not like some poop ex, it's my mother, and she's dead." I apologized, but told him to look at himself. No job, depressed, throwing away his life and relationship with his wife. He said, "It's already so hard, don't make it harder. I don't need you scolding me at the hardest point of my life." I tried to get my point across, but he abruptly got mad, calling me a fucking bitch, then left. I'll admit, what I said was horrible. It was unfair to him. But I don't know what to do anymore. I feel burnt out, and I desperately need someone too, just like him. I feel so alone every minute of the day. Am I the idiot? Everyone sucks here. You should never have said that. But if his grief is affecting your relationship and is so severe that he had to quit his job, he should be willing to go to therapy. I have to say, I am a little bit hesitant to say he's an ah. He may be too depressed to make the right decisions for him and you. However, likewise, not everyone can handle a partner's mental health issue, so I don't know if you can be expected to respond perfectly. Everyone sucks here. Yes, it was a bad thing to say, but did he completely cease to function for a whole year, leaving you to take care of him, of the finances, of everything in your joint life? While showing no intention of ever seeking help so he may heal and recover? Yeah, you cannot be expected to put up with this forever.